And I wonder how fast Kristina's going to pull guard.
Yeah,
I mean, talk
exactly
about a low posture. And there we go. There's
Oh
that.
my goodness.
I mean, we have people who are good at judo. Then we have elite high-level judo, and that's Julia. And, of course, her partner, Owen Livesey, you know, absolutely killing it on the grappling scene at the moment. Snap down. She loves the guillotine, and this is a great position. She's strong in this position here. She's changed the hand to a palm-to-palm position, which is, you know, definitely a non-traditional grip for the guillotine. And look how she pulls out of that position straight away.
Great. Julia does also have lots of sub-only experience. She's fought on Grapple Fest, Grapple Kings.
Yeah, and I think it is significant when you have, it's a big difference when you compare it to someone who hasn't necessarily got that sub-only show experience. It's a very different, I mean, you've competed on sub-only and you've competed in normal tournaments. What's that transition like?
It's tough, you know, all eyes are on you, you know, in a standard tournament, you've got, you know, 6 other fights going on, but it can get to your nerves. It's different.
Yeah,
experience.
You've got to think with the huge amount of very high-level judo and grappling experience that Julia has, you know, nerves are probably not going to be a huge thing today. She finds herself inside of the full guard position here, and I mean, if I was Kristina, I'd be a lot happier in this position than I would be standing up. And you saw a few times Julia tried to stand there and beckon her opponent back to the feet, and Kristina thought, you know what, I'm pretty comfortable down here. I think I'm going to stay exactly where I am. And I think we're going to see that the same cogs turning in her mind right now. She wants to stand, but she does not want to stand at the same time.
Ooh.
And a face shove there, and trying to open up the position, and almost a back step there from Julia. Has a nice far side underhook. Again, looking for that guillotine. She did say that the guillotine was her favorite technique. Her actual answer on the questionnaire we sent out was no idea, maybe guillotine. So I mean, it's the best guess that we have.
Again, search for the guillotine.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd really be interested in seeing if Julia is able to pass this guard, some of that really heavy judo pressure that you can expect from someone with her background. But Kristina doing a good job of tying Julia up here and using this half guard position. Something that Julia never would have come across in her judo background. Or extremely rarely, anyway.
She's coming up, she's giving her a lot of space, and it could be an opportunity for Kristina to start coming underneath her. But we're back up, and Kristina's with her.
She stood up, back into a very, very low stance here for a good reason. And I don't think as low a stance as she can get, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. If she decides to stand with Julia, I think it's going to be a matter of when and not if. Snap downs here, and again we could see Julia tie up another guillotine, inside foot trim. She goes in there. I mean, highlight reel.
That is highlight reel.
And actually, you know, an instinctive base from Kristina to try and stop there, and all it ends up doing is making the throw even more dramatic. But underneath side control, and I mean, this is the question, because, you know, when you have someone with Julia's skill set, the best way to pass the guard is not to be in a guard. It's to take down directly into a side control. And that's something where judo is really, really useful. In a lot of wrestling, a lot of the time you are naturally taking someone down into some form of open guard, but with judo, with these big throws where you're landing in scarf hold and variations like that,
exactly where you want to be.
Exactly where you want to be. So this is going to be down to whether Kristina can get those legs back on the inside, or whether Julia can really take advantage of this position. Again, we've got to say, no submission attempts. Well, we've got, I guess, there wasn't any attempts. There was some very, very early jockeying for a couple of guillotines, but I don't think you could really class them as deep submission attempts. So, you know, Kristina's got to be thinking, I've got to get a submission attempt in here, because all of the throws and positional domination is going to mean nothing if the opponent has just one deep submission attempt. That is the rule set that we're going with today. So maybe Kristina attacking the legs, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is as well, like Julia, she didn't use like a lot of energy for that throw. It was just...
I mean, 23 years of judo, you're doing that in your sleep, right?
Yeah. It's amazing.
So I think Kristina looking to control back of the head and the wrist here, sort of a signature of a attempted triangle setup. And I mean, that could be massive. I think closed guard position is a great position for Kristina, and if she can throw the legs up and get an arm bar or a triangle attempt here and get it, you know, maybe not even get the finish. Of course, always, if you're attempting submission, you get the submission. You don't have to worry about the judges' scorecard. But you know, I think that's going to be one of her keys to victory at the very least. If she wants to win a decision, it's not likely she's going to do it through positional dominance. You know, not with someone of the caliber of top position control and judo that Julia has.
So 4 minutes 40 left. Still in this closed guard position. And Julia doing a really good job of standing in the closed guard here. But again, Kristina is using her legs, pulling her back down. This grip fighting is really good. She's trying to stop Julia getting back to that grip underneath the armpits there, which is actually a really good method to, personally I think, to stand up in the closed guard, in the no-gi.
Julia getting a little bit nasty with that forearm under the neck there. I think she's trying to elicit the opening of the legs. And I mean, we spoke about this earlier. It is really difficult to open the closed guard in no-gi, and I think a lot of the time it's about frustrating your opponent into opening and then passing out of this position. Of course, Julia stands up and she doesn't physically beckon her opponent towards her, but you can certainly sense she's hoping for it, and Kristina's going to give her another opportunity. And then thinks better of it. If I was her, I wouldn't have stood up in the first place. I probably would have butt scooted on the mat at the beginning of the match.
Lots of elbow pressure.
Yep. So we've got 3 minutes left. I mean, so far at this point, you know, we've spoken about the rules. If there are no submission attempts, then it goes down to positional dominance. So even though Julia hasn't really had a deep submission attempt, she's quite obviously dominating this match. Big throws, side control, strong dominant positions on top. So she's certainly up on the judges' scorecards now. That can change very, very quickly with one deep submission attempt from Kristina. And that's what makes this rule so interesting, is that the submissions are valued so highly. You know, so far we haven't seen anything from Kristina to suggest that it's an option for her to get in on a submission here. We haven't seen, you know, we saw very early stages of thinking about throwing the legs up for a triangle or armbar from the closed guard, but not much from here. I really do think that, you know, from this half guard position, looking to maybe get a deep half guard and invert under and get some sort of entanglement on the legs, and possibly looking at seeing her here, but the very, very heavy top pressure from Julia is putting an end to that very quickly.
Here she passed. Oh, she got it to turtle though, so it's possible that we're going to see some back takes now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, it does look like Julia favors from this front headlock position. We saw it a little bit early. She favors trying to get that guillotine and looked to move to the back. But I mean, this is a style that it's not hugely surprising, which is Julia is playing to her strengths, and she is not allowing for a second Kristina to force Julia into her game. So she knows exactly where she wants to be, and she will refuse to be anywhere else. It's a smart smart game plan, and you can see Kristina is really struggling to find a way in to trying to solve this puzzle. And I mean, I wouldn't want to be in her position. This is a tough place to be. I think inverting and getting on those legs, and maybe when Julia tries to escape, trying to take advantage of the scramble away, but when you've got someone as physical as Julia is, it's going to be a huge struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, a guillotine attempt here. The position isn't great, but she is underneath the neck, and she is putting some pressure through there.
It's going to be very uncomfortable for Kristina.
I think that's kind of what it is, though.
Yeah.
It's purely uncomfortable. But then, if someone defends a submission because it's uncomfortable, is that a deep submission? Like, you know, does there have to be...
The tree falls in the forest.
If Julia goes for a guillotine in the forest and no one's there to score it. Straight into Mount there, and again, into that guillotine position, and I think at this point we can class this actually as a deep submission. You know,
Yeah,
do I think it's going to
absolutely.
be match ending? I don't think so, and I don't think it's going to matter. 10 seconds left, but you know, having to defend against these hands, it looks like it's an arm in position, which is really difficult to finish from. It is from the mount position, but certainly the most solid submission attempt, and I think very, very comfortably, this is going to be an easy victory for the judo master, Julia Scardone. And hopefully we're going to see a replay, and we got to see that huge throw. Here it is. Is this the throw here?
It's gotta be.
So this is the early snap down into the guillotine. Wanted the guillotine here, and I think this is it. There's a trip attempt there, and then changes the angle, and look at that, beautifully done.
Beautiful.
I mean, that's what you wanted to see with Julia on the card, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then some of these guillotine attempts later on, and yeah, a great performance by Julia. I'd love to see her on these mats again.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by judges' decision is Julia Scardone!
Yeah, exactly what we expected. Very much one-way traffic from Julia. You know, a great use of her skill set. We did see some legitimate submission attempts, you know, finishing the match.